Today, we are welcoming Judy to the Shift Happens podcast. And I actually found her on Instagram and I was like, we need to sit down and we need to talk. So, welcome in.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to be here.
Of course. And we got lucky today. As anybody that's been following me knows, my toddler has been running this show more than I have. And he's been like, no, mom, you're not going to podcast lately. And we got so lucky. And she's the first guest to work out in 2 weeks. So, he must have been like, she's got a really important message that she needs to share today. So here we are.
When alignment happens.
Exactly that. So you spent years, decades even performing military structure expectations. So take me and the audience to the moment where you decided that silence was not an option anymore.
Back then, I was doing everything right. Everything looked good on paper. I smiled for the world, right? But deep down inside, I was literally suffocating and crying inside. That version of me was literally surviving, but I was dying inside. I wasn't living. It all happened when I retired. Take a step back. It happened when I got divorced. When I finally said, and this was literally like 2 years before I retired. So it was very transitional for me. I was married for 20 years to a narcissist, 20 whole years. In the beginning, it was all love and dovey, and I have no regrets, 0 regrets. But I knew it just wasn't it. Stood for all the wrong reasons, right? Raised a family, everything was great on the outside, great on the outside, everything looked good, but on the inside, it just wasn't right. I finally said enough was enough. It was time to go, divorced. And then 2 years later, I said enough was enough. I'm retiring and said goodbye, 23 years of service, and said, I'm retiring, I'm done. And then I wrote my book and put it all out there. And here I am. And doing that was the moment, in honesty, I felt like the weight was lifted off of me because I was no longer living in shame, no longer living in guilt. Nothing else was holding me back.
Yeah, that's an amazing moment. And that's where the shift happens moment comes in for people is those moments of like, okay, there's no turning back from this. I know I need to do something differently. And I can relate to that of like keeping quiet and then putting your story out there. So, what was the scariest part for you when you did put your story out there? Was it the stories itself or being seen in a new way? Or kind of both?
Everything I was the scariest part was what are people going to think about me? Because it was now what, right? Like everybody had this idea of who Judy was since I was a little girl because I threw everything out there at one time. I threw everything out from childhood to teenage to adulthood. Everybody had this idea of who I was. And now I just threw it out there and said, no, this is who I am. This is what I went through. Now shut up and leave me the hell alone. So that was my biggest fear was, okay, now I don't care, but it's me. And either you accept me or you don't. So I was afraid of what people were how they were going to view me and who else was I going to lose because I already lost so much.
Right. Yeah. Did it take something happening for you to get to this point of being like, you know what? I don't care anymore what people think. I'm going to put my story out there.
I think the pain that I went through with the divorce there was so much pain in that because of everybody that I lost and everything that I went through with that. And if I don't know if you read my book or not, Caleb, but if you did, I already had went through so much trauma already. And I think the divorce was the catalyst that was just like, you know what, at this point, what else do I have to lose? What else do I have to lose? I've already lost enough. At this point, I just wanted freedom. I just wanted to be me now. You know what I mean? Like I was just done. So that was it. It was like, F it. I'm done. Either love me or hate me. I don't care anymore. You're going to get me and that's it.
I love
That's
that
it.
though. I love that because
It
you
had to
spend
come to a point where I couldn't get anymore.
exactly. You spend so long doing
I was
X, Y,
done
and Z
faking.
for other people that you're like, you know what? It's time that I'm me. It's time that I put my story out there the way that I need to say it, not somebody else's version of it. So Congratulations to
Mhm.
you, first of all, for even doing this huge step because it,
Yeah.
it takes guts to do that.
Choose me for once in my life because, growing up, I was doing everything for mom and dad and everybody else, right? And then I had to do things for him. And then I had to do things for my kids. And then I never put me first. So I had to finally say, you know what? It's time for me to put me first. And that's
Mhm.
when I decided to put me first. And I haven't turned back.
And I can only imagine how that felt. Like you said, it felt like a weight lifted off of your shoulders, but take us into that feeling a little bit. Like, what did it actually feel like to just finally feel so free after sharing your story? Of course, there were the moments that you were a little scared to share it and fearful of what others might think, but let's go on to the positive side of it of like, how did that feel?
It was overwhelming. It felt beautiful. The day that I married my wife, it felt so relieving when my youngest son, who I was so scared of, to tell him that I was in a relationship again, right? But he told me on my wedding day and he grabbed my face and was like, Mom, this smile that you have right now, I don't ever want you to lose it. That right there was worth every single thing in the world. And when my oldest, who is 27 years old, told me, Mom, I feel like I finally met the true you. Uh, I'll do it all over again. I'll do it
Right.
all over again
Right.
because the two most important people in my entire life, I don't care what anybody else thinks or cares for. That right there was, I will do it all over again. So that's the freedom. They finally met their mother, who I really am. Mothers, we try so hard to protect them and we forget that they see everything. And what they seen growing up, I thought I was protecting them, but in hindsight, I actually did a lot of damage that I'm now repairing because they deserve to have a healthy home. And that fighting and bickering was not healthy for them. You see? And now they know what healthy and real looks like. So,
I could, like,
yeah.
feel the emotion when you said that about your kids, and I actually had to take a moment here to wipe the tears because I was tearing up as a mom myself. I just can imagine hearing your grown kids be like, "Mom, I can finally see you," and just hearing that, oh, my mom heart was like, "That's such a special moment to have."
It was, and every time they're like, "Mom, you're like the queen, like, you're so divine, like, you are like the divine mother." Like, do you understand what that feels like? Like, that they never, like, spoke to me that way. So, yeah, I will absolutely do it all over again, but differently, obviously, but yeah, I would definitely go back and do it again.
I love that. I feel like that kinda takes me to something that you said that has stuck with me since I saw your submission was that healing is messy, but freedom is worth it. And I feel like we should talk about that mess because people love to glamorize this shit. They love to glamorize healing, but it is not cute, is it?
It is not. It is not. It is not. Because it's ugly. It's raw. It's messy as you know what I
Exactly.
mean? Like it
Yep.
really is. I don't like to swear, so you'll see me do the you know, there's so many times that I was in a closet crying, like journaling and throwing my feelings out there and just praying and like losing the people who I thought were in my corner and you lose so much in healing. You lose so much, but you gain so much. You know what I'm saying? Healing is not linear. People think like it's love and light. It's all this and it's all that. It's not. It's ugly as shit. It's
Right.
ugly as hell. You
Right.
know what I mean? But when you finally come to the other side, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's worth it all. But you got to do the work. You have to do the work. And if you do the work, it's worth it. You know what I'm saying? But you're gonna lose people. You're going to see so much ugliness. You're gonna see the hate. You're gonna see the darkness. You have to look at yourself in the mirror. That's the hardest part is
Right.
the role that you played in it all. That right there is that's the part people don't like to face is the you played in your own pain. Hello.
Exactly. Yep,
That right there is painful
it is. Yep.
because people are really quick to point the finger, right? They're so quick to point the finger. Do it this way. Do it this way. Because you played a role too. You played a role too.
Yep. That's such a good way to put it is, like,
Listen, it's
instead of
not
pointing
pretty.
it that way, point it this way because you're right, so many people avoid the work because they're like, "Well, it starts to get a little too messy," or, "That's a little too painful," and I'm like, "But if you never do it, you're never gonna get to the other side of it."
That's where freedom lives. If you do the work, that's where the freedom lives. You know what I'm saying? But you're going to have to point inward as well. You have to look inward as well. And you can't pretend. You can't pretend like it didn't happen. You cannot let your emotions overcome. And people like to let their, like, just stuff their emotions. And I always tell people feelings buried alive never die. You're literally going to, like, kill yourself with stress and everything else because feelings buried alive never die. They're going to come up eventually. So you might as well deal with them now. You might as well.
Yep.
You might as well.
Like, why
you
not deal
know?
with them now? Yeah, if not now, when? If not now, when are you gonna do it?
Right. You want to deal with it in the next relationship, and then you're looking at yourself and being like, here we go again. I'm in the same situation again. Like, no. Deal with it now so you don't find yourself in the same situation again. Like, this is how you heal. Healing is not pretty. It's not pretty. Or you're just gonna repeat a pattern. And if you keep doing this, you're just going in a circle like a little hamster. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Like literally. And one of the biggest things I will tell you, Kayla, is like healing taught me like you don't have to shrink yourself to be loved. Like, you literally don't have to shrink yourself to be loved. You can be loved fully if you're yourself, and you don't got to shrink yourself. And if that person cannot accept you for who you are, they're not your person. They're just not your person, you know? But if you're not healed, you will shrink yourself. So do the work so that you know who you are, and then you'll be fine.
Right. I feel like when I talk to people that have done some healing of their own, usually it came out of seeing what happens when you don't heal, or they've been around people who never did any type of work on themselves, or they're seeing something in their life where they're like, I don't want to end up like that. So let me figure out how to change the situation. And yeah, it can be very powerful when you finally sit down and do the work because you're going to be like, how did I ever stay stuck there when I could have shifted the entire time?
Right. There's times I still like sit back and I'm just like, how did I stay for 20 years?
Yeah.
How did I do that?
Hmm.
Because I know who I am and I'm just like, did I really do that long? Like, wow, dummy. You know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
I'm like, I have to talk to myself. You're not dumb. You were young and you just made some mistakes. That's it. And then let it go. Because it's work all the time. And that's the other part of healing is it's constant work.
Mhm.
You have to constantly, like, reaffirm and, do affirmations. It's constant work all the time, especially the longer that you were in situations, it's the longer you're constantly working with it.
I think there's like a balance of cry, curse, heal, laugh, and then repeat the whole entire cycle all over again.
All the time. It's a constant thing. It's a constant thing. You don't just stop. You're like, "Okay, I'm healed, I'm done." No, that's not how this works.
Exactly, exactly. It's like by the time you healed from something that you started healing from, there's something else to heal from that happened in the process of that. So it's like a never ending process. And like you said, why not start now? Why not?
Amen.
So, writing Standing in My Truth, this story that you were once afraid to speak, what do you think was the hardest part to put into words for you?
I wanted to make sure that when I wrote my story, I didn't want it to come out in a way where it was derogatory or making anyone feel like I was coming for them. I wanted it to be in a tone where women or men felt seen, that everyone could understand that they weren't alone. There was a message that you can say your story without attacking people. So when I wrote my story, I wanted it in a tone where I wasn't attacking anyone, but my voice still heard. That was, like, my biggest way of when I wrote my story. I when I worked with my editor, I just that was the biggest thing that I want. I did not want it to come across where I attacked anyone, my abusers, my family, my ex, or anybody. And I also wanted it to be where I didn't wanna give too much detail because, it's a lot, because I want more books to come off. So my editor did a really good job of just giving a synopsis, and that's where my next books are coming from. So each chapter is written where you get a synopsis. My like Family Secrets is going to come for chapter 1 because that was all family oriented. So my next book being released is Family Secrets. So chapter 1 is going to be Family Secrets. So each book is going to come off of each chapter to go more in detail for each one. But I just didn't want anyone to feel attacked, or because that's not the person that I am at all. So that was my biggest thing, is making sure that I'm heard and not attacking anybody.
So, what's been the most unexpected part of sharing your truth publicly? This could be good, bad, in between, everything.
I will be very honest with you. The unexpected truth is my mother. My mother and I have had a very rocky relationship. My mother read it several times, but my mother and I have now grown to have a very, because there was a lot of things she didn't know. There was a lot of things that came to light, and we now talk at least once a week for about an hour or 2. So we have been building a relationship that was, not there. So even, like, there were things that I didn't know about my mother that she has shared with me. So that is probably the most unexpected thing that I have gotten from writing my book, was the relationship that I've always wanted with my mother. I am now having it at 47 years old. So I think it's a true blessing. And maybe that's the way God intended it to be. I don't know. So I'll take it. It's a win.
Exactly. I feel like maybe that was why I was so drawn to your story as well, is when I decided to voice my story for the first time ever. It was called Truth in Pieces. And that's kind of what yours reminded me of, was those pieces of truth coming out in it. And then you were releasing like the full version of it later on. And, it is your truth coming out. But there are just all these connectors that people might not have known before. And so all that really stood out to me. And I was like, we have to talk about this because the alignment was insane.
Love that. I love that. I know when I seen you, I was like, "Ooh, Kayla." I love your post. I love everything about you stand for. I think it's amazing.
Well, thank you. I know that you have described your vibe as like healing meets hype woman, and I love that. So, how do you balance the deep emotional work and then still keeping it light and real? I can tell you're funny. Like, you like to laugh, you keep it light and real, but you know how to talk serious at the same time. So, that's perfect combination in my eyes.
Oh, girl, it's work. It's work. It's work.
Yep.
I think the balance is, I think it's my Navy background. I would have to say that. And I literally have like 6 siblings. So that has a lot to do with it. So I grew up with a lot of cousins and siblings. So I know how to have fun. I raised 2 boys, and trust me, they kept me busy. So I think naturally I'm just a natural easygoing person. So I think the hype comes from, now that I'm finally free, I get to be me. And then naturally that's just who I am. But my seriousness, I think, comes from my professionalism, being in the Navy and having to have that, that structure. So I know how to have that balance easily. But other than that, I think it just comes naturally for me, honestly. I take my pain and my passion and I combine them together, and I just like to have fun with it. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes you have to have fun with it. You can't always be serious and you can't always be fun. There's a time and a place for everything. So you just have to find that easy balance.
Yeah, that actually makes so much sense now that you just went back to the Navy, but also just all these things that you've been through. And it's funny. I know that that saying "everything happens for a reason" is so cliche at this point, but everything truly does happen for a reason, and now it built you into this woman that you've become. So I would love to ask you, what does standing in your truth, using your book's title, what does that sound like in your head on like the hard days for those women that are like, how do I do this when life gets hard?
You don't need permission to start over. You don't need permission to start over. Just be you. Be authentically you. Stand in who you are. God made you exactly who you are meant to be and own it. Wear your crown, head up high, shoulders back, and own that shit. Own it.
Yes.
We were born to rise. So rise, queens. Your truth is your power. Clock it. Okay?
Yeah, I love this. That's exactly the type of energy. I love that kind of energy to be like able to just mix that serious raw truth with, you know what? Like, come on, girl. And that's exactly what you said. Like, hype woman, you can do it. So I feel like let's turn that hype woman around to you. And what are you most proud of when you look at the woman that you've become?
Most proud of just who I am. I'm most proud of everything that I've accomplished. I used to shrink myself, right, and not own anything, but I am proud that I raised two amazing boys. I am proud of my career. I am proud of where I'm at in life. I am proud of my book. I am proud of everything that I've done. I am just proud of who the hell I'm proud to be here with you right now, Kayla. I am proud of everything that I have done. So, you know what? I own who I am now. I am proud. I'm proud to be Judy.
I love that. I feel like I just felt that for like I felt it through the screen of that like like you said, standing in your truth. You might be sitting right now, but you're sitting in that truth.
Yeah, I used to not be proud of anything. I couldn't even used to look at myself in the mirror, but now, girl, I own it.
I love it. So, what are you doing now with the book? What can we expect from the book? Are there release dates coming up? What are we up to today? What is Judy up to now?
What is Judy up to? Well, Judy is now, I do lives on TikTok. So you can
I
catch
love it.
me Monday to Friday on my TikTok at just underscore be happy at 7 Central Time Zone. So we have a blast in there. I am a life coach. So take a look at my website at jumoji.com. My next book
Yeah.
hopefully will be released in December, which is going to be Family Secrets. I just got back from some book signings, so hoping to be doing some book signings in early next year, but I just have so much going on. I'm so blessed, and yeah, that's that right now, that's where I'm at. But I did just start doing TikTok live, so everything has been it's so blessed. I'm loving my crew. I have almost 8,000 followers on there. They've been coming in. We do manifesting, we do transformation talks, we do it all in there. So come join us. We have a whole blast in there.
Love that. I have done TikTok lives in the past and they are truly fun. Your first time, it might take you 5 minutes to push go live, but once you get used to it, I feel like it's just so much fun and you get to connect with people. And I have made connections, real connections with people online that I don't even have in real life. And I'm like,
Mhm.
how do we feel like best friends and we're through a screen? So it's powerful what social media can do these days.
Right, right.
Yes.
You gotta tap into the social media market. I used to hate TikTok, but now I am loving it. I am so loving it. I'm very rarely on the other platforms now, but I still have to handle my business stuff. So I'm still over there, but I'm pushing my TikTok over there now.
All right. So I feel like a great question right now would be we're going to picture this woman who's listening right now, and she's still in that silence. She's afraid to speak her truth because she feels like it's going to cost her too much. What would you say to her?
Speak from your scars, not from your wounds.
That is deep. That's like something that doesn't even need more than that because it encompasses it in just those few words. Ooh, I felt that one.
That's why I said, let me hear that one more time. Speak from your scars, not from your wounds.
Yeah, healing might be messy, but silence is definitely heavier. So if somebody is listening right now and you needed a sign to speak up, this is it. This is your sign to finally stand in your truth, like Judy has said, and like her book has explained, and everything else. So, Judy, I know you've mentioned TikTok. Where can everybody connect with you outside of this podcast episode?
They can connect with me on my website on jumoji.com and they could also connect with me on Instagram at Jumo Inc. And that's pretty much it. But everything is linked on my website, so you could just click the buttons and find me.
That is great. I want to thank you so much for having this conversation with you. I definitely need to come tune into your TikTok lives because I'm always down for some good mindset and all of that. So, thank you for taking the time to sit down with us today and share more.
Thank you for having me, Kayla. You are amazing and awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, girl.
Thank you.